Hello everybody, we're here today going to show you how to make test and make adjustments on your extractor in your 1911s. I've got a couple of my 1911s out here. Generally, as long as your pistol is functioning properly, you really don't need to even mess with this or worry about the adjustment on it. When you're going to need to is when you start having a situation like this where you've got a stovepipe, and what that's caused by is the extractor has lost control of the shell casing in the recoil cycle, and it just didn't clear the ejection port prior to the slide closing back and trapping the casing in between the barrel and the slide. That's fairly common. That's fairly common malfunction with an extractor that's out of tension. Another common one would be the casing is being ejected straight up and hitting you in the head. The third one would be where the casing just as you fire and the cycles, the casing just falls basically out of the side of the gun and is not ejected clear of it. Those are the things that you're kind of watching. It might give you some hint that you possibly have an extractor that's getting out of tension. The way to test that is fairly simple. I got my other 1911 that I routinely carry here disassembled already. Of course, I've removed the slide from the frame, removed the barrel, the recoil spring, and the guide rod out, because all I really need to do this is the slide. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start with an empty shell casing. I'm going to put it into the slide against the breech face in the location that it would be in a typical cycling position. Obviously this is past the first test because the casing hasn't fallen out under gravity. If you put that casing in there and it just won't stay in there at all, falls out, then your extractor's out of tension. The next thing you want to do is give it a little bit of a shake, and as long as that stays in place, then you're good to go. The third thing I'm going to do is move that casing down to where it's just about even with the slide rail, maybe a little bit up, and you can already see that this casing is loose, but it's still retaining some tension, but not enough to really interfere, because your ejector is actually running down this channel here, and you just don't want it in there tight once you've moved it down that little bit. Let's see if I can reset that. And it's still continuing to stay in there, but pops right out. Easy enough. I'm going to next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and use a live round, and same test. Put the live round into the breech face, into the position that it would be in under firing circumstances. And again, this is past the test because it hasn't fallen out. And give it a little mild shake. As long as it doesn't fall under that mild shaking, that's fine. I'm going to vigorously shake it, and it should fall through and fall clear. If it does that, then your extractor is in, the tension on your extractor is probably close to proper enough. If your pistol passes those tests, it's a signal that you may need to start looking someplace else for what's causing your malfunctions. But it's a good place to start, and it's easy, and it's a test that doesn't require a gunsmith to do. I'm going to go ahead and remove the extractor out of this slide. Do that by pushing the firing pin into the slide and moving the firing pin stop down. Now, as you remove the firing pin stop, you want to watch for the firing pin and have pressure over the top of it, because it is spring loaded and will go sailing across the room. So we've got the firing pin stop, the firing pin, and the firing pin spring. The next thing you do to remove the extractor, see if I can get it just the right angle for you. Extractor sets right there, and you can just You usually push it through and you'll see it come out the back end of the slide. Once you've got it partially out like that, just push it on through, and this is your extractor. This is as close to the view to the extractor as I can. Let me get a piece of paper here, kind of highlight the shape of it so you can kind of get an idea of what the thing looks like. Now, these particular 1911s are Series 70. The Series 80 has a slightly different firing pin and extractor, and that's due to the Series 80 actually has a small button in here which is a firing pin release that's engaged when you pull the trigger, and it basically, unless you're pulling the trigger, it locks the firing pin into position so that you can't have an accidental discharge. My personal opinion is it's pistol companies trying to solve a problem to appease lawyers. I think there's been plenty of extensive testing with 1911s, and they found that basically the only way the thing will accidentally fire by being dropped is if it's dropped from over 10 feet high and lands directly on the end of the muzzle, which, you know, just doesn't happen that often. Like I say, this extractor is in pretty good shape. I know the tension is correct. If I needed to adjust the tension, they make a tool to do that. And what it does is it just bends the extractor. I don't know what it cost. I've never used one because I've just always done it this particular way. The way I adjust the tension on these, if I need to either stiffen it up or lighten it up, is I just stick the extractor in about halfway and give it a little bend. It doesn't take very much pressure at all to change the dynamics of the tension, so I don't want to do that because obviously this one works well. To put it all back together, like I say, just stick your extractor back into the end of the slide. Should be about flush. Then reassemble your firing pin and spring. Put them down the firing pin tunnel. And then you compress the firing pin in while you're putting your slide stop or your firing pin stop back in. Now you see I've got that held. There's a small ridge on that firing pin that I'm using to keep it in while I'm getting my punch here. Once I've done that, just punch it down, push it up, and you should see this firing pin pop back into position. Once that firing pin is popped back out into position, that's the assembly is complete. Again, you can go back to your empty and live cases and give them a shake, see if they're ready to give it how your tension is set now. And you can hear that one rattling. It's just not going to come out. And again with the live round. Put the live round into position. Give it a light shake, nothing. Give it a vigorous shake, comes out. Tension's approximately right. You know, for a shooter gun, adjusting your extractor this way is fine. You know, if you're using a precision race gun, obviously you probably want the tool to make that finite perfect adjustment. But for your average shooter pistol, if the extractor's starting to get out of tension, or you're starting to get beamed in the head by your brass, or getting stovepipes, this is the first place to check is your extractor. Alright, hope you found this interesting. Y'all have a good day, and we'll talk to you later.